In continuation of part 1 of the video from the chapter 3 from gathering to growing food, now let's see the early customs and practices of the early human. Well, the scholars have studied a lot, but the archaeology still do not find any satisfactory answer which tells us about the customs and practices of the early human. But by the study of the present day farmers who practice the simple agriculture, these scholars do suggest that the early human might have also used the same kind of customs and practices. Now let's see what the present farmers are using and what they are doing. They're called as tribes, where 2 to 3 generations live together in a small settlement called as villages. Most of the families are related to one another, and collectively they are called as tribes. That is, in a whole village, the people who are living, they know each other and they exist with certain kind of family relationship. That is, one know other, the other know other, and like that. Hunting, gathering, fishing, farming, herding are simple and common method which they are still using with primitive means. They are not using any kind of new technology. So it is expected that also those people, the early human, might have also used all such kind of practices. Here we see that the women, they do all kind of agricultural work. For example, the ground preparation, the sowing of seeds, looking after the plants. They also look for harvesting of grain. They also go for threshing, husking, grinding grain, all those activities which a man do not do. It's the task of the women in such kind of tribes. The children work for both the parents, that is the mother and the father. They help the mothers in activities like they look after plants, they drive away animal and bird from the plant so that they can be stored further, they can live long. And as far as the men are concerned, the men lead a larger herds of animal in search of pasture, and the children, they help them in looking after for small flocks. They look for cleaning of animals and milking of animals. The men and women also do several collective tasks. For example, in making pots, in making baskets, in making tools and huts, the men and women work together. Similarly, in several cultural activities like singing, dancing, hut decoration, or village decoration, these women and men, they do come together and they come along. Similarly, in the tribe, we do see that some men are regarded as leader because of some or the other quality. For example, they may regard a person who's really old and experienced. They may regard a man which is young and have brave warrior quality, or they also regard people who are priest in the tribe. Similarly, the old women are also respected for their wisdom and their experience. The tribes have a rich and unique cultural tradition, and we also expect the earlier human might also have used all these things, that they have the rich and unique cultural tradition which include their own language, which include their music, story, paintings, and all those things. They also have their own gods and goddesses. What makes tribe different from many other societies is something that they respect for the land, they respect for forest, grassland, and water, and all those natural resources which they consume. They regard all of those things. The wealth is something which they consider as nature, and they have no meaning for any kind of currency as they do not use it at all. And there's also no sharp difference between a rich and a poor. In a tribe, all of them are equal. Now let's see certain specific sites where we have found the clues regarding the early man. The Mehergarh site that we have seen on the map of the earlier Neolithic age. Here the archaeologists have found several areas where houses are made in shapes of a rectangular kind of a block which has walls, and they have several chambers in it. They do suggest that they might have used all those things for something as kitchen, they might have used something as a storeroom, something as a living room, or something like that. The people of Mehergarh might have used all these rooms for these purposes. They've also seen that there was a system of burial of the Mehergarh people. They have found pits where the skeleton of human and skeleton of goats are found with certain other things. This suggests that the people of Mehergarh, they used to believe in the life after death. This is a good thing that we know that the people were considering enough about all these things. The archaeologists have found the broken bones of deer and pig, and in the below layers of the area they have found sheep and goat, and in the later layers they have found the bones of the cattle, suggesting that these were the animals that the people of Mehergarh were keeping with them. Now let's understand how the archaeologists say that the cattle existed earlier than the sheep, and the sheep and goat existed earlier than deer and pig. How do they get to know? Now let's see the earlier and the later levels in this particular term. Now let us suppose that the people start living on a flat ground layer here, and when they live they start creating homes, they start creating houses, and they make out waste and it gets stored in the nearby vicinity. After hundreds of years it gets covered with another layer of soil or such kind of waste. They build more houses over the same waste, and they create another layer. Now this is how another layer is formed, and then they make such kind of waste. Similarly, over hundreds of years, this thing will get again filled up, and the people will create more houses over this particular layer. And this is how they create layer over layer. And when the archaeologists find all these sites after several hundreds or millions of years, they dig this earth and they find that there are several layers, and they number them as layer 1 or layer 2, layer 3, and so on and so forth as they go deep down the earth. Hence they can tell that this particular place, that is the level 3, existed earlier than level 2, and level 2 existed earlier than level 1. Now let's ponder over a closer look at the Daujali herring, which is nearby the Brahmaputra path in India, which is quite near the China or the Myanmar route here. This is Daujali herring, which is in the northeastern part of India. Now let's see what we have found in this particular area. Here we see that the archaeologists have found the stone tools, which includes the mortars and pestles. Now how do the archaeologists suggest all this story, or the historians do suggest all this story whenever they found any kind of clue? Now let us see. When we have found a mortar and a pestle, it simply means that the grain was used in those areas. And when we see that the grain was used, we can easily conclude that they knew that how the grain has to be produced. That is, the agricultural practices were in vogue in those particular time. Therefore, we also know by this thing that the people, as they knew about the mortar and pestle, and also they knew about food preparation, and certainly the grain was there. Also, the archaeologists have found the jadeite stone. It is a stone which is commonly found in China. So this means that they must have explored the route to China, and similarly the travel was common between these two areas. This is how the archaeologists find such kind of links between one and the other thing. We have also found the fossil wood things and the pottery, where a fossil wood is something, a kind of a fossil made out of wood, and hence they have found the tools made up of fossil wood, and they have also searched for pottery. You can easily conclude how we can link all these things with the early men of those era. I hope I was able to make things clear of this particular chapter, that is the gathering to growing food by the early men. Have a good day ahead. We will be meeting you in the next video. Take care. Bye.